I was bleeding in a field hospital in Iraq when my wife texted another man, "I can't wait to feel you again tomorrow." I didn't know that yet. Not in May of 2024. I was busy trying not to die. But that's where this story really starts. That moment, that message. While I was being stitched back together after a firefight went wrong, my wife, Lauren, was planning her next afternoon with Captain Eric Thornton, my subordinate, the man I'd trusted to check on my family during my deployment. I'm Lieutenant Colonel James Harrington, 42 years in this broken winter of 2025. Battalion Commander, 101st Airborne Division, Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Third-generation Army officer, 18 years of service, 4 combat deployments. I survived all of them, but nobody prepared me for the enemy at home. Let me back up. January 15th, 2025, a Wednesday night. I'd been home from my last deployment for 6 weeks. Back to the routine, morning PT, staff meetings, battalion formations, evening briefs. Everything normal. Lauren running her FRG meetings. Family readiness group, she was the leader for 200 military families. Maddie, our daughter, 17, senior year, ROTC scholarship, West Point application submitted. The flag in our window, Blue Star Service flag, you know the kind. 1 star for each family member deployed. Ours had 1 blue star. Blue means they're alive. Gold means they died. I'd taken a photo of that flag before every deployment. Lauren standing beneath it, hand over her heart. "Waiting for you," she'd say. Turns out she was waiting. Just not for me. It was almost 10 at night. I was in my home office, spare bedroom we'd converted years ago, desk pushed against the window, overlooking base housing, battalion guidon standing in the corner. That's the unit flag, swallow-tailed, red and white with our eagle insignia. 8-foot oak pole, heavy. I kept it there to remind me who I was, what I stood for. Lauren was at an FRG meeting, or that's what she'd said. Meeting with the spouses, honey, planning the February potluck. Be back by 11. Maddie was at a friend's house studying. SAT's coming up. I was alone, working on the next day's battalion brief, half watching the news on mute. I needed to check the FRG calendar, some event I was supposed to attend. I'd forgotten which one. My laptop was upstairs. Lauren's was right there on the kitchen counter. We shared passwords, trusted each other completely. Stupid. I opened the laptop. Silver MacBook, couple years old, covered in FRG stickers and unit patches. Screen glowed to life. I clicked on messages to send her a quick text asking when she'd be home. The app auto-logged in, her iCloud, and there it was, top of the list. E.T. The preview showed the last message, sent 4 minutes ago. 9:43 p.m. God, I can't wait till he deploys again. 6 more months and I'm filing for divorce. Baby will be here by then. We can finally be together. I stopped breathing. The laptop sat there on the kitchen counter. The fluorescent light hummed overhead. Somewhere down the street, someone was laughing. A dog barked. The refrigerator clicked on. All these normal sounds while my world ended. I clicked on the conversation. The messages scrolled back and back and back. Months of them. E.T. was Eric Thornton. Captain Eric Thornton. 33 years old. Company commander in my battalion. I'd mentored him for 3 years, recommended him for his command slot, watched him grow from a nervous lieutenant into a confident officer, invited him to dinner at our house a dozen times during my deployment. Check on my family, I'd told him. Make sure Lauren and Maddie are okay. He'd checked on them all right. The first message in the thread was dated April 2024, month 1 of my deployment. Can't stop thinking about you. You either. This is crazy. He doesn't have to know. He'll be gone for 8 months. We have time. I scrolled faster. The blue glow of the screen reflected off the kitchen cabinets. My hand shook so badly the trackpad was hard to control. Each message was a new wound. May 3rd. I miss your hands on me. May 18th. Can't believe we have the house to ourselves. His deployment is the best thing that ever happened to us. June 2nd. Think he suspects? No, he's too trusting, too focused on his soldiers. July 15th. I love you. Love you too. August 8th. I might be late to pick up Maddie. Can you cover? Anything for you. The months blurred together. I kept scrolling. 300 messages, 400. They'd been careful at first. Vague language, no explicit details. But by month 6, they'd gotten comfortable. Reckless. October 20th. Wore the necklace you gave me today. James didn't even notice. He doesn't notice you, I do. November 3rd, the day before Thanksgiving. Wish you were the one coming home for the holidays. Soon, we just have to be patient. December 12th. I think I'm pregnant. Are you serious? Took 3 tests, all positive. Hey, holy shit. I know. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. Let me think. I stopped scrolling. My vision tunneled. The edges of the screen went blurry. Pregnant. December 12th. That was during my deployment. I'd gotten 2 weeks of leave over Christmas. I'd been home the December 22nd through January 4th. We'd had sex twice, maybe 3 times. I'd been exhausted, jet-lagged, processing casualties we'd taken in November. Lauren was pregnant, 18 weeks now, if the timeline was right. Mid-May conception. I was deployed in May. I wasn't home until late June for a 4-day R&R. The baby wasn't mine. I pulled my wedding ring off my left hand. 14-karat gold. Simple band, worn smooth at the edges. Engraved inside, JH plus LH, Forever Faithful, 2008. I'd worn it for 17 years, through 4 deployments, through firefights and IED blasts and everything else. Never took it off. Forever Faithful. I set the ring on the counter next to the laptop. It made a small clicking sound against the granite. Seemed louder than it should have been. I scrolled back to the top of the messages, looking for something, a date, a specific memory. There. May 15th, 2024. From Lauren to Eric. I wish you were coming home to me tonight. Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow at noon. I pulled my deployment journal from my desk drawer, black moleskin, pocket-sized. I'd carried it through all 4 deployments. The leather smelled like dust and sweat. The elastic band had stretched out years ago. I flipped through the pages until I found the entry. May 15th, 2024. My handwriting, blue ink, neat block letters despite the shaking I'd had from adrenaline. Saw a soldier die today. PFC Morrison, IED, 22 years old. Wife just had a baby. Called her myself. Worst call I've ever made. All I could think about afterward was coming home to Lauren and Maddie. That's what keeps me going out here, knowing they're waiting, knowing I have something worth coming home to. I'd written that while Lauren was texting Eric Thornton, planning their next afternoon together. I closed the journal, set it next to the wedding ring. The next message appeared while I was still staring at the screen. 6 words that ended everything. James is deployed. We have all night. Then I saw the message dated 3 days after the firefight. The day I almost died. I kept reading, couldn't stop myself. Each message a new betrayal, a new lie uncovered. The thread went on for 8 months. 8 months while I was overseas, while I was trusting him to protect my family. They'd been smart about it, mostly, used FRG meetings as cover. Lauren would say she was coordinating with company spouses or doing welfare checks. Meanwhile, she was meeting Eric at his place on base, Building 47, Bachelor Officer Quarters, 15-minute drive from my house. They talked about me, about how I'd never suspect, about how I was married to the Army, not to her, about how I didn't appreciate her. January 3rd, after I'd been home for 2 weeks. He leaves next week for the field, 3-day training exercise. Can we finally? Yes, God, yes. I'll tell him I'm going to my sister's. January 10th, while I was literally in a field training exercise with my battalion. Miss you. Miss you too. Can't wait to see you Friday night. He thinks I'm at book club. Book club. I'd actually been proud of her for making new friends. There were photos too. Nothing explicit, thank God, but enough. Eric's apartment. Lauren sitting on his couch. The 2 of them at a restaurant in Clarksville, far enough off base they thought no one would recognize them. And then I found it. The message that made me understand the full scope. January 13th, 2025. 2 days ago. Eric to Lauren. My promotion board is in 8 weeks. Once I make major, we can go public. Force Jim out. With you running FRG and me getting promoted, we'll have the political cover. Lauren. What about the baby? Eric. We'll figure it out. Maybe say it's his. One last time before you left for deployment or something. Lauren, he'll want a paternity test. Eric, then we lawyer up. You're FRG leader. You know all the battalion families. Half of them will side with you. Make him look like the bad guy, paranoid, controlling, PTSD from deployment, they'll believe it. Lauren, God, I can't wait to marry you. Think about it. Mrs. Lauren Thornton has a nice ring. Eric, better than Mrs. Harrington? Lauren, so much better. I had to stop reading. My hands were shaking too hard to control the trackpad. I stood up, walked to the window. The blue star flag hung in the frame, backlit by the porch light. That cheap fabric that caught the light wrong. Every military family has one. I'd photographed Lauren under that flag before every deployment. Waiting for you. Hurry home safe. I love you. All lies. The combat deployment flag rustled slightly in the breeze from the AC vent. That soft sound like a whisper. I wanted to rip it down, burn it, destroy every symbol of the life I thought I had. Instead, I went back to the laptop. I took screenshots. Every message, every photo, every piece of evidence, methodical, military training taking over where emotion wanted to break through. No panic, no revenge, just evidence. I emailed them to myself, to my personal account, backed them up to a thumb drive I kept in my desk. 347 messages, 23 photos, 8 months of proof. When I was done, I sat back down, stared at the screen. The wedding ring sat on the counter next to me. I picked it up, felt the weight of it, 6 grams, 17 years, forever faithful. I set it back down. The clock on the laptop said 10:47 p.m. Lauren would be home in an hour, Maddie maybe sooner. I had decisions to make, but first, I needed to know the full truth. If they had been this careful about the messages, what else had they covered up? How deep did this go? I thought about Command Sergeant Major Dixon, Rob, my senior enlisted advisor, 24 years in the Army, seen everything. If anyone could tell me what to do next, it was him. I picked up my phone, started to dial, stopped. This wasn't just personal anymore. This was professional. Eric Thornton was my subordinate. He'd had an affair with his commander's wife during a deployment, using his position to access my family. That was a violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Article 134, Conduct Unbecoming an Officer. If I reported it, this would become official. Investigation, court-martial, public. The whole battalion would know. 200 families, 20,000 people on base. Army Times. Maybe civilian media. If I didn't report it, if I just divorced Lauren quietly and let Eric get away with it, I was condoning it. Setting a precedent that officers could sleep with their commanders' wives and face no consequences. I looked at the battalion guidon in the corner, that red and white flag with our eagle insignia, strike written beneath it. I'd carried that guidon in ceremonies, passed it to incoming commanders. It represented everything I believed in: honor, duty, integrity. I'd been teaching my soldiers about those values for 18 years. Now it was time to see if I actually believed them. I dialed CSM Dixon's number. He answered on the second ring. "Sir, everything okay?" "Rob," I said. My voice sounded surprisingly steady. "I need to see you, now, your office. It's important. Be there in 15 minutes, sir." I grabbed my keys, the laptop, the thumb drive, my deployment journal, left the wedding ring on the counter. The flag rustled in the window as I walked out. CSM Robert Dixon's office was in the battalion headquarters building. 10-minute drive from base housing. I made it in 7, running 2 of the stop signs in the dark. The parking lot was empty except for the CQ runner's car, charge of quarters, 24-hour desk duty. Dixon was already there when I arrived. Lights on in his office, second floor, corner window. I could see him through the glass, pacing. He'd thrown a uniform jacket over his PT shirt. No cover, no boots, just sneakers and patrol cap. He met me at the door, took one look at my face and said, "Sir, you look like you've seen a ghost." "Worse," I said. We went upstairs. His office smelled like coffee and old carpet, awards on the walls, deployment photos, his kids' drawings taped to the filing cabinet, 24 years of service in one small room. I set the laptop on his desk, opened it, pulled up the messages. "I need you to read this," I said. "All of it. Then I need you to tell me what I'm supposed to do. Dixon sat down, started reading. His face went from confused to shocked to angry in about 60 seconds. He scrolled and scrolled. Didn't say a word for 10 minutes. Finally, he looked up. Sir, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I said, me neither. Captain Thornton, Jesus Christ. I had him at Thanksgiving dinner last year. I had him at my house 14 times during the deployment. Told him to check on my wife. Dixon scrolled some more. Stopped at the message about the promotion board. Read it twice. Sir, they were planning to force you out. I know. Using FRG politics against you. That's... He stopped, rubbed his face. That's calculated. That's conspiracy. I know. And the pregnancy? Not mine. Timeline doesn't work. I was deployed when she got pregnant. Dixon closed the laptop, stood up, walked to his window, looked out at the dark battalion area, the motor pool, the arms room, the barracks where 800 soldiers slept. Sir, you know what you have to do. Yeah. This isn't just personal. This is UCMJ, Article 134, conduct unbecoming, adultery, fraternization. He used his position to access your family during deployment. I know. If you don't report it, I know, Rob, I know. I sat down in his visitor chair, felt about 1,000 years old. But if I report it, it goes public. Whole battalion, brigade, division, army times. Maddie's got her West Point interview in 10 weeks. This could destroy her. Maddie's strong. She's 17. Her whole application essay is about her parents' faithful military marriage. Lauren helped her edit it while she was sleeping with Thornton. Dixon turned around. Sir, permission to speak freely? Always. You've been teaching these soldiers about honor for 18 years. Every formation, every counseling session, every promotion board. You tell them, do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it costs you. Well, sir, he pointed at the laptop. This is your test, not theirs, yours. I nodded. Knew he was right. Hated that he was right. Plus, Dixon said, there's evidence beyond the messages. What do you mean? He walked to his desk, pulled out a file folder, red cover, stamped confidential across the top. Sir, I didn't want to say anything until I was sure, but about 2 weeks ago, the IT section flagged something during a routine security audit, base housing Wi-Fi logs. They track which devices connect to which networks. It's automatic, part of cybersecurity. He opened the folder, pulled out a printout. 45 pages, computer paper, perforated edges from continuous feed printer. This is the access log for your family quarters, building 23A. Every device that's connected to your home Wi-Fi for the past year. He slid the printout across his desk. I picked it up, started reading. Badge number 47382. Captain Eric Thornton. Access to Harrington Family Housing Wi-Fi. 67 entries during my deployment. That's more than twice a week. Welfare checks are supposed to be weekly. Maybe 32 visits total. I flipped through the pages. Each line showed a timestamp. Date, time, duration of connection. April 18th, 2024, the 1400, 1730 hours. 3.5 hours. April 23rd, 2045 hours, 5 hours, after 11 p.m. May 2, 1200, 1545 hours, 3 hours, noon. Exactly when Lauren's message said, can't wait to feel you again tomorrow at noon. May 15th, 1930, 2340 hours, 6 hours. The day I almost died. The day I wrote in my journal about coming home to her. The entries kept going. June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, 67 times. Many of them late at night. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 11:30 p.m. You don't check on a soldier's family at 2 in the morning, unless... I set the printout down. Dixon slid one more document across his desk. Sir, you need to see when these entries started. I looked at the first page, highlighted in yellow. April 12th, 2024, month 1 of my deployment, week 2. The affair hadn't started slowly, it had started immediately. Sir, Dixon said quietly, you have to report this, not just because of UCMJ, but because if you don't, the next commander who deploys, the next wife who's vulnerable, it'll happen again. Thornton will do it again, and you'll have enabled it. I picked up the printout. 45 pages, every entry time stamped, Every visit logged, irrefutable. Get me Colonel Mitchell's personal number, I said. I need to brief her tonight. Sir, it's almost midnight. I know, call her anyway. This can't wait. Dixon nodded, picked up his phone. I sat back in the chair, stared at the evidence, the messages, the access logs, the deployment journals still sitting in my jacket pocket. I survived 4 combat deployments, IEDs, firefights, mortar attacks, but nobody prepared me for the enemy at home. Dixon hung up. Colonel Mitchell will see you tomorrow morning. 0700 hours, her office. She says to bring everything. Roger. Sir, you should go home. Get some sleep. Lauren will be home soon. I can't see her right now. Then don't go home. Stay at the VOQ. Visiting officer quarters, temporary lodging on base. I'll call and get you a room. What do I tell her? Nothing, not yet. Not until you've briefed Colonel Mitchell and gotten legal involved. Let the system work, sir. Trust the process. Trust. That word tasted like poison now. But Dixon was right. I needed to follow the proper channels. Do this by the book, even if every instinct screamed at me to go home and confront her right now. Thanks, Rob. Sir, one more thing. Yeah? You're going to need to order a paternity test. For legal reasons. JAG will require it. Right. The baby. 18 weeks. Due in, August? Late summer. I'll handle it tomorrow after I brief Colonel Mitchell. Good. Dixon stood up. Sir, I know this is hell, but you're doing the right thing. Your daughter will understand that. Eventually, Maddie. God, I hadn't even thought about how to tell Maddie. I picked up the laptop, the thumb drive, the printout, my deployment journal, evidence. That's all this was now. Evidence for a case. I left Dixon's office, drove to the VOQ, checked in with a night clerk who looked about 19 and didn't ask questions. Got a room on the 3rd floor, standard military temporary lodging, beige walls, 2 double beds, desk, chair. Bathroom, no character, no memories. Perfect. I set everything on the desk, sat down on the bed, looked at my phone, 3 missed calls from Lauren, 2 text messages. Where are you? Jim, you're scaring me. Call me. I turned the phone off, lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling. In 7 hours, I'd brief Colonel Sandra Mitchell, brigade commander, my boss, tell her everything, start the official investigation, set in motion a process that couldn't be stopped. UCMJ charges, court-martial, divorce, custody, public scandal. The whole base would know. 200 families, Army times, maybe worse. Maddie's West Point interview in 10 weeks. The baby in 7 months. My command, my career, my family. Everything I'd built for 18 years. But Dixon was right. I'd been teaching soldiers about honor for my entire career. Do the right thing, even when it costs you everything. Now, it was my turn to prove I believed it. I picked up the phone, 0243 hours. This was the hardest call I'd ever made, and I'd called families to tell them their sons were dead. I turned the phone back on, dialed Colonel Mitchell's number. She answered on the first ring. Jim, ma'am, I said, I need to move up our meeting. Can you see me now? It can't wait until morning. Silence. Then, give me 30 minutes, my office. Yes, ma'am. I hung up, got dressed, combat boots, patrol cap, everything by the book, grabbed the laptop, the evidence, the deployment journal. Outside, the flag in my window, the one in my real home, not this temporary room, was probably still rustling in the night breeze. That blue star flag that meant they're alive, they're deployed, we're waiting. But nobody was waiting for me anymore, and I was done being blind. Colonel Sandra Mitchell's office was in brigade headquarters, corner office, 2nd floor, windows overlooking the parade field. At 3:15 hours, the building was dark except for her light. She was waiting when I arrived, 48 years old, 26 years of service, combat patch from Afghanistan, silver oak leaves on her patrol cap. She'd commanded the brigade for 14 months. Fair. Tough. No nonsense. She took one look at my face and said, "Sit down, Jim. Tell me everything." I did. Showed her the laptop, the messages, the screenshots, the access logs, the deployment journal with the May 15th entry. Explained the timeline, the pregnancy, the conspiracy to force me out using FRG politics. She listened, didn't interrupt, took notes. Her face went from concern to angry to something harder. Professional fury. When I finished, she closed her notebook. Jim, I'm sorry. This is... She stopped. There aren't words for this. No, ma'am. But you understand what happens next? Yes, ma'am. UCMJ investigation. Article 134, conduct unbecoming. At minimum, possibly Article 133 as well. Adultery. And given that he used his position during your deployment, she tapped the access logs. This is aggravated. This is predatory. Yes, ma'am. I'm calling JAG right now. Major Reed. He'll be lead on this. You'll give a formal statement. Everything gets documented. This becomes official. Understood. She picked up her phone. Dialed. Tom, Sandra Mitchell, I need you in my office. Now. Yes, now. It's urgent. Pause. UCMJ violation. Officer on officer, yes, 30 minutes. She hung up, looked at me. Jim, once Major Reed gets here and takes your statement, this can't be undone. Are you sure you want to do this? Ma'am, I've been teaching my soldiers about honor for 18 years. If I don't report this, what does that say about everything I've taught them? She nodded. That's the right answer, but I need to ask. Your daughter, Maddie. West Point interview in 10 weeks. This could... I know, but if I cover this up to protect Maddie's application, what kind of father am I? What kind of officer? A human one, she said quietly. It would be understandable, but it wouldn't be right. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, we do this by the book. Full investigation. I'll personally ensure it's handled properly. No leaks to gossip channels if I can help it. But Jim... She leaned forward. Once this starts, it's going to get ugly. Lauren will lawyer up. Thornton will lawyer up. They'll try to flip the narrative, make you the bad guy. Paranoid, controlling, PTSD from deployment. You need to be prepared for that. I am. And your battalion, 800 soldiers. They're going to know. You're their commander. This becomes their business whether we like it or not. I know. Major Thomas Reed arrived 20 minutes later. 41 years old. JAG officer. 15 years of military legal experience. He had a voice recorder, a legal pad, and a laptop. He shook my hand. Sir, I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. Yeah. I need to take your formal statement. Everything you know, everything you discovered, timeline, evidence. This will take a couple hours. You okay with that? Let's do it. We moved to a conference room. Reed set up his recorder. Colonel Mitchell stayed for the first 30 minutes, then left to make calls. Chain of command notifications, legal consultations, starting the machinery. I talked for 3 hours, walked Reed through everything, the laptop discovery, the messages, the access logs, the pregnancy timeline, the deployment journal, the conspiracy to force me out. He asked questions, clarified details, took notes, never judged, just documented. At 0630 hours, he turned off the recorder. Sir, I've got enough for now. I'll need to interview CSM Dixon, get the original access logs from IT, secure the laptop for forensic analysis. We'll need to serve Captain Thornton with a no-contact order immediately, and Mrs. Harrington as well. What about the baby, the paternity test? We'll handle that through legal channels. I'll coordinate with a civilian testing facility. Court-ordered. Results go directly to me, not to you. That way there's no question of tampering. When? I'll have the order today. Testing can happen within 48 hours. Results take about a week. A week? 1 week to find out if there was any chance, any microscopic chance, that the baby was mine. I already knew the answer. The timeline didn't work, but some part of me still hoped. Reed closed his laptop. Sir, one more thing. I strongly advise you to move out of the family quarters immediately. Take temporary lodging, VOQ, off-base hotel, anywhere but your home. This protects you legally and personally. I'm already at the VOQ. Good, stay there. Don't go back to the house except to get your things. And when you do, have someone with you. CSM Dixon, an MP, someone who can witness that you're not doing anything inappropriate. Roger. And sir, Reed looked uncomfortable. Don't talk to Mrs. Harrington. Not about this, not about anything. All communication goes through lawyers from here on out. If she calls, don't answer. If she texts, don't respond. If she shows up at your office, call me immediately. Understood. I know that sounds harsh, but it protects you. Anything you say to her can and will be used against you. Guarantee she's going to claim you're abusive, paranoid, something. Don't give her ammunition. I nodded. The sun was coming up outside. Battalion PT formation would start in an hour. My soldiers would be out on the parade field, running, doing push-ups, expecting their commander to be there. "Can I still command?" I asked. "Or am I relieved?" Colonel Mitchell had come back into the room. "You're not relieved. This isn't your misconduct. But Jim, you need to take some time. Personal leave. Let your XO handle the battalion for a few days while we get the investigation started. Once things settle, you can come back." "Ma'am, with respect, my soldiers need to see me. If I disappear right now, rumors will start. I'd rather be present, visible, normal routine." She considered this. "Okay, but if it becomes too much, if you need time, you take it. That's an order." "Yes, ma'am." Reed packed up his equipment. "Sir, I'll be in touch this afternoon. We're moving fast on this. Article 32 hearing, that's the preliminary investigation, will probably be scheduled within 2 weeks. You'll have to testify. It'll be formal. Officers on the panel, defense attorney present, everything on record." "I understand. And, sir, one more thing. Your wife was FRG leader. That means she had access to contact information for 200 military families. Personal phone numbers, addresses, that's sensitive information. We need to revoke her access immediately and notify the families that there's been a leadership change." "Right? The FRG. I'd been so focused on the affair that I hadn't even thought about the organizational implications. Who takes over?" "Colonel Mitchell will appoint someone, interim leader until we can hold elections." I stood up. My body felt like I'd been in a 20-mile ruck march. Everything ached. "Thank you, Major." "Colonel." Mitchell walked me out. At the door, she stopped me. "Jim, I mean this. You're doing the right thing. It's going to hurt like hell, but it's right." I drove back to the VOQ, showered, changed into a fresh uniform, checked my phone. 17 missed calls from Lauren, 12 text messages. "Where are you?" "Jim, please call me." "I know you saw something. Let me explain." "You're overreacting. This isn't what it looks like. Call me or I'm calling the MPs to report you missing." "You're scaring Maddie. She's asking where you are." "Maddie. God, I hadn't even told Maddie. I needed to call her. But what do I say? Honey, your mother's having an affair with my subordinate and she's pregnant with his baby. And oh, by the way, your whole West Point application essay about our faithful marriage is based on a lie. I called CSM Dixon instead. "Sir, Rob, I need you to do something for me. Find Maddie. Tell her I'm okay. Tell her I'm at work." "Tell her." I stopped. "Tell her I'll explain everything tonight. I'll come by the house around 1900 hours. Can you make sure she's there?" "Yes, sir. What about Mrs. Harrington?" "Tell her to be somewhere else. I don't care where. Just not there." "Roger, sir." I hung up, stared at the phone. Thought about calling Maddie directly. Decided against it. Better to tell her in person, face to face. Let her see that I was okay, that we were going to be okay, even if I didn't believe it yet. Colonel Mitchell closed her notebook. "Jim, you understand this goes beyond divorce now. Captain Thornton violated Article 134. I have to convene an Article 32 hearing. That was 6 hours ago. Now it was 1400 hours. Afternoon. I'd gone to battalion formation, pretended everything was normal, led PT, conducted staff meetings, signed paperwork, played the role of commander while my life imploded in slow motion. At 14:30, there was a knock on my office door. "Sir, you have a visitor." I looked up. My clerk, Specialist Martinez, looked uncomfortable. "Ma'am says it's urgent." "Who is it?" "Mrs. Angela Myers, sir. She's one of the FRG members." Angela Myers, Lauren's best friend, worship team member at the on-base chapel, 2 kids, husband deployed to Korea. I'd met her a dozen times at unit events. "Send her in." Angela entered, 34 years old, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked like she'd been crying. Her hands shook as she sat down. "Colonel Harrington, She stopped. "I don't know how to say this." "Just say it." "I knew about Lauren and Captain Thornton. I've known for 8 months." The air left the room. "You knew?" "Yes, sir." "I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have said something. But Lauren's my best friend and Tears started flowing. I convinced myself it wasn't my business, that it would blow over, that telling you would just make things worse. I sat back in my chair, tried to process this. "You knew the whole time I was deployed." "Yes, sir." "You saw me at FRG events, shook my hand, thanked me for my service, smiled at my daughter, and you knew. I'm so sorry. Why are you telling me now? She pulled tissues from her purse. Because Major Reed called me this morning, said there's an investigation, asked me to come in for an interview, and I realized, she looked up, I realized I'm going to have to testify, either voluntarily or under subpoena. And I thought you should hear it from me first. Hear what? Everything. The meetings that weren't meetings, the lies she told, Angela stopped, wiped her eyes. Sir, there's something else you need to know. What? This isn't the first time. My blood went cold. What did you say? Lauren, this isn't the first time she's done this. She had an affair during your 2018 deployment too. Different soldier, lieutenant from 3rd Battalion. It lasted about 6 months. He got quietly transferred to Fort Hood to avoid a scandal. Nobody talked about it. It just went away. I couldn't breathe. 2018. 7 years ago. My second deployment to Afghanistan. Maddie was 10 years old. I was faithful, I said. Every deployment, every TDY, every field exercise. For 17 years, I was faithful. I know, sir. And I stopped. Couldn't finish the sentence. Angela reached into her bag, pulled out her phone. Sir, I have text messages from Lauren bragging about Captain Thornton, calling him her deployment boyfriend, saying, she hesitated, saying you'd never find out because you're too trusting and too focused on being the perfect commander. She slid the phone across my desk. I read the messages, each one worse than the last. Lauren to Angela. E.T. is so much more attentive than Jim, remembers things, listens, doesn't just grunt and go back to work. We're meeting at his place tonight. Jim thinks I'm at book club LOL. I feel bad sometimes, but then I remember how many nights Jim chose the battalion over me. This is karma. The baby is going to be beautiful. E.T. has better genes anyway. I set the phone down. Major Reed needs these. Can you forward them to him? I already did, sir. This morning. Good. Angela stood up. Sir, I know I should have told you sooner. I'll never forgive myself for that. But I want you to know, Lauren's been telling people you're paranoid, that you came back from deployment different, that you've been controlling and jealous. She's building a narrative, making you the villain. I know, my lawyer warned me. Don't let her do it. You're a good man, a good commander. You don't deserve this. After she left, I sat alone in my office, stared at the battalion guidon in the corner, that red and white flag, eagle insignia. Strike. I'd been struck all right, blindsided. The intercom buzzed. Sir, CSM Dixon on line 1. I picked up. Yeah, Rob. Sir, I talked to Maddie. Told her you'd be by at 1900. She's home. Mrs. Harrington is staying at a hotel downtown. But sir, what? Maddie knows something's wrong. She's scared. She kept asking if you were okay, if you were hurt. I told her you were fine, but she didn't believe me. Thanks, Rob. I'll handle it. At 18:30 hours, I drove home. Military housing, building 23A, 2-story unit, 3 bedrooms. Standard issue family quarters. I'd lived it here for 3 years. The Blue Star flag still hung in the window. I parked in the driveway, sat there for a minute. This was going to be the hardest conversation of my life. Maddie opened the door before I could knock. 17 years old, long brown hair, my eyes, Lauren's smile, wearing her ROTC PT uniform, gray army shirt, black shorts. She looked terrified. Dad? What's going on? Where have you been? I stepped inside, closed the door, saw my deployment journal sitting on the coffee table. The battalion guidon I'd given her for her birthday last year stood in the corner of the living room. She collected them, wanted to be an officer like me. Sit down, honey. I need to tell you something. She sat on the couch. I sat across from her, tried to figure out where to start. Dad, you're scaring me. I know, I'm sorry, but I need you to listen all the way through. Don't interrupt. Can you do that? She nodded. I told her everything. The laptop discovery, the messages, the affair, Captain Thornton, the pregnancy, the timeline that proved the baby wasn't mine, the Article 32 hearing, the investigation. She sat there, perfectly still, face blank, processing. When I finished, she didn't move for 30 seconds. Then she stood up, walked to the coffee table, picked up a piece of paper. This is my West Point essay, she said. Her voice shook. The final draft. The one I submitted in October. Want to know what it's about? I already knew, but I said, tell me. It's called Honor in Action, Lessons from a Military Marriage. 3 pages about you and Mom. About how you've stayed faithful through 4 deployments. About how Mom supported you. About how your marriage is proof that military families can thrive despite the hardships. About honor and duty and sacrifice. She looked at the paper, then at me. Mom helped me edit it. We spent 3 hours on it. She added a paragraph about how she never doubted Dad's faithfulness and how trust is the foundation of a military marriage. Tears started streaming down her face. She helped me write that while she was sleeping with Captain Thornton. Maddie, I wrote my West Point essay about you and Mom, she was shouting now, crying. About honor and faithfulness. You helped me edit it. She ripped the essay in half, then in half again. Threw the pieces at the coffee table. You made me lie to West Point. Everything I told them about our family was a lie. Honey, you didn't know. You didn't lie. But it's still a lie. And now? She stopped, wiped her eyes. Now what? Do I tell them? Do I withdraw my application? Do I just pretend everything's fine? No, you don't pretend. You write a new essay about this, about learning what real honor looks like when everything falls apart. How am I supposed to? She stopped. Her phone buzzed. She looked at it. Her face went white. What is it? She turned the phone around. Text message from an unknown number. This is Eric. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you or your dad. Please believe that. Maddie stared at the screen, then at me. He's texting me, right now, while you're here telling me he destroyed our family. She typed something, hit send, turned the phone around again. Don't ever contact me again. 30 seconds later, another text. Your mom wants to talk to you. She's at the Marriott downtown, room 347. Please come. Let her explain. Maddie stood up, walked to the window, looked at the blue star flag. Does this mean I can't go to West Point? No, honey. It means you're going to West Point stronger than you would have been. How? Because you're going to learn something I had to learn the hard way. Honor isn't about never failing. It's about what you do when the people you trusted fail you. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I need to see Mom. Maddie, I don't think... I need to see her. I need to hear her say it. To my face. If you've ever had someone you trusted completely betray you, just type survived in the comments. You're not alone. Let's keep going. The Marriott was 20 minutes away. Downtown Clarksville. Off base. Civilian territory. I drove. Maddie sat in the passenger seat. Silent. Staring out the window. You don't have to do this, I said. Yes, I do. She's going to try to manipulate you, make me the bad guy, say I'm overreacting or paranoid or... I know, Dad. I'm not stupid. We parked, took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Room 347, end of the hall. Maddie knocked. Lauren opened the door. She looked terrible. No makeup, eyes red from crying, hair uncombed, wearing jeans and a sweatshirt. Maddie, oh thank God. She reached for her. Maddie stepped back. Don't touch me. Lauren's face crumbled. Baby, please, let me explain. Explain what? That you've been sleeping with Captain Thornton for 8 months? That you're pregnant with his baby? That you helped me write my West Point essay about your faithful marriage while you were cheating on Dad? It's not that simple. Then make it simple, Mom. Make me understand. Lauren looked at me. Jim, can we talk privately? Just me and Maddie? No, Maddie said. Dad stays. We went inside. Hotel room, 2 queen beds, desk, chair, suitcase open on the floor. Lauren's clothes scattered everywhere. She'd left in a hurry. Lauren sat on the bed. Maddie stayed standing. Maddie, I love you. That's the first thing you need to know. This has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. You destroyed our family. Your father was never home. 4 deployments, field exercises, TDYs, staff meetings. He chose the Army over us every single time. He was serving his country. He was serving his ego, playing the hero. Meanwhile, I was here, alone, raising you alone, being the perfect Army wife, the FRG leader, the commander's wife. Smiling at unit functions while inside, I was dying. So you slept with his subordinate. I fell in love. It just happened. For 8 months, while Dad was deployed, That doesn't just happen, Mom. That's planned. That's calculated. Lauren stood up. You don't understand what it's like, being married to someone who cares more about his battalion than his family. Dad almost died in May. IED. Did you know that? He wrote about it in his journal. How he thought about coming home to us. How that's what kept him going. Lauren looked away. You texted Eric that same day. Told him you couldn't wait to feel him again, while Dad was bleeding in a field hospital. Maddie, I read the messages, Mom. Dad showed me, all of them. Lauren's phone was sitting on the desk. It buzzed. Screen lit up. Message preview visible. E.T., baby, please call me. We need to talk about what happens next. Maddie picked up the phone, looked at it, looked at her mother. He's texting you right now. Even now, Mom? Even now? Lauren grabbed for the phone. Maddie pulled it away, started scrolling. Maddie, don't. Oh my God, there are dozens of messages. From today, from yesterday. You're still talking to him, still planning, even after Dad found out. She threw the phone on the bed. I'm done. I'm done. She walked to the door. I followed. Lauren started crying. Maddie, please, I'm still your mother. Maddie turned around. No, you're the woman who gave birth to me. That's biology. But a mother? A mother doesn't destroy her daughter's family for an affair. A mother doesn't lie to her daughter about honor while sleeping with her father's subordinate. A mother doesn't help her daughter write an essay about a marriage that was a lie. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Let's talk about fair, Mom. Dad's been faithful for 17 years, 4 deployments, and you... She stopped. You did this during the 2018 deployment too. Different soldier. I know. Angela told Dad. Lauren went pale. That's not... Don't lie. I'm so sick of the lies. Maddie opened the door, walked out. I followed. In the elevator, she was shaking. I put my arm around her. She leaned against me, started crying. Dad, I don't know who she is anymore. I know, honey. My whole life I wanted to be like you both, the perfect military family, and it was all fake. Not all of it. I loved you. She loved you. That was real. Was it? I didn't have an answer for that. If you were Maddie, would you cut off your mother completely? Type cut. Or eventually try to forgive. Type forgive. What would you do? There's no right answer here, just honest ones. Whatever you typed, I get it. Maddie struggled with that choice for months. The paternity test order came through 48 hours later. Court ordered, civilian lab. Results would take 7 to 10 days. Lauren refused at first, said it was invasive and unnecessary. Major Reed explained that she could refuse, but then the court would assume paternity was in question and rule accordingly in the divorce proceedings. She agreed. I gave my sample. Cheek swab, 2 minutes, done. Now we waited. Work helped. Battalion operations, training schedules, personnel issues. Keeping busy kept me from thinking too much. But at night, alone in the VOQ room, I couldn't escape it. 17 years of marriage, 4 deployments. I'd trusted her completely, given her everything. And she'd been planning to take it all. The house, the money, my command. Using FRG politics and Eric's promotion to force me out. I pulled out my deployment journal, flipped through the entries, 4 deployments worth of letters I never sent. Thoughts about Lauren, about Maddie, about coming home. May 15th, 2024. Saw a soldier die today. All I could think about was coming home to Lauren and Maddie. Lauren's text to Eric, same day. I wish you were coming home to me tonight. I closed the journal, couldn't read anymore. My phone rang. Major Reed. Sir, we have the paternity test results. My heart stopped. And Captain Thornton is the biological father. 99.98% probability. No question. I sat down on the bed, even though I'd known, even though the timeline made it impossible for the baby to be mine. Hearing it confirmed was different. Sir, you there? Yeah, I'm here. There's more. Captain Thornton's parents have requested a meeting with you through their attorney. They want to discuss the situation. His parents? Why? I don't know, but they're flying in from Ohio tomorrow. They asked specifically to meet with you. You don't have to agree to it, but I think you should hear them out. Why? Because, sir, they might be your best allies in this mess. The next afternoon, I met Eric Thornton's parents in Major Reed's office. His father was 65, retired high school teacher. His mother was 63, retired nurse. They looked exhausted, heartbroken. Eric's father stood up when I entered, extended his hand. "Colonel Harrington, thank you for seeing us." I shook his hand, sat down. Major Reed sat next to me. Eric's mother had tissues in her lap. She'd been crying. "Colonel," Eric's father said, "I don't know where to start. We raised Eric to be better than this. We taught him honor, integrity. We're ashamed, more than you can possibly know." "Okay," I said, not sure what else to say. "We know what Eric did. To you, to your family. It's unforgivable. We're not here to make excuses or ask for mercy for him. He deserves whatever punishment he gets." "Then why are you here?" Eric's mother opened her purse, pulled out photos, showed them to me. A nursery, crib, changing table, rocking chair, painted walls with animal stickers. "We prepared this," she said. "We can't have children of our own anymore. Medical issues? We thought we'd never be grandparents." She looked at me, eyes red. "Colonel, we know this baby is Eric's biological child. We know your wife is carrying him, and we know—" Her voice broke. "We know this must be the worst thing you can imagine." "It is. We want to adopt the baby." Silence. "What?" I said. Eric's father leaned forward. "We've spoken with Eric. He's willing to sign away parental rights. Your wife, Mrs. Harrington, we're told she's willing to consider it as well, with the right terms." "Terms?" "Financial settlement. Enough to start over somewhere else. Away from Fort Campbell, away from the Army community." Major Reed spoke up. "Sir, this is actually not uncommon in military divorce cases involving pregnancy. Clean break, the child goes to a loving home. The biological parents don't have to navigate co-parenting. Mrs. Harrington gets a settlement. Everyone moves forward." I looked at the photos, the nursery, the hope in these people's eyes. "Your son destroyed my family," I said. "Yes," Eric's father said. "He did. And you're asking me to let you raise his child. We're asking you to let us love an innocent baby who didn't choose any of this." Eric's mother was crying now. "My husband and I have been married 42 years. We're good people. We'll give this child everything. Love, stability, a home. We just want a chance to be grandparents, to save something good from this mess." I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the battalion area. An innocent baby. Who would grow up knowing his biological father was a disgrace? His biological mother abandoned him. Unless these people raised him, loved him, gave him a chance. "What about Eric?" I asked. "Does he see the baby? Have visitation?" "No," Eric's father said firmly. "He signs away all rights, legally, permanently. We adopt, we raise the child. Eric has no contact. That's non-negotiable." "And Maddie?" They looked confused. "Your daughter? If you adopt this baby, that baby is technically Maddie's half-sibling, biologically. I won't keep that from her. If she wants to know the child, if she wants some kind of relationship, I won't stop her." Eric's mother smiled through her tears. "We would welcome that. Any connection to your family would be a blessing we don't deserve." I turned around, looked at Major Reed. "Is this legal? Can this actually work?" "Yes, sir, with proper documentation and court approval. Mrs. Harrington voluntarily relinquishes rights. Eric does the same. They adopt. Clean transfer. The baby grows up with them. You and Maddie can maintain whatever relationship you want. Or none at all. Your choice." I looked at Eric's parents, two people who'd raised a son who became a disgrace, but who were themselves decent, trying to save something, trying to love. "My son destroyed your family," Eric's father said quietly. "Please, let us try to save this one innocent life." I sat back down. "Okay," I said. "Okay." Eric's mother started sobbing. Her husband held her. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you. You could destroy us in court. You could make this hell. Instead, you're giving us grace." "I'm not doing this for you," I said. "I'm doing it for that baby, and for Maddie. She deserves to know that something good came from this nightmare." Major Reed pulled out paperwork. "We'll need Mrs. Harrington's agreement. Her attorney's been contacted. She's indicated she's willing, especially with the financial settlement." "How much?" $500,000 from Eric's family. Clean break payment. I looked at Eric's parents. "You're paying her $500,000? "We'd pay more if we had it," Eric's mother said. "This is our grandchild, our only grandchild. We'll do whatever it takes." I shook my head. The whole situation was insane. But maybe this was the best outcome anyone could hope for. an innocent baby, going to people who would love him. Maddie, knowing that despite everything, something good happened. And me, I survived 4 combat deployments, but nobody prepared me for the enemy at home. Maybe this was how you win that battle. Not with weapons, not with revenge, with grace you didn't know you had. The Article 32 hearing was scheduled for February 10th, 3 weeks after I'd discovered the affair. It would be held in the brigade conference room, military judge presiding, 12-person panel of officers, defense attorney for Eric, prosecution, Major Reed, gallery open to officers only, everything on the record. I'd testified at courts-martial before, as a witness, never as the victim. The night before the hearing, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Maddie. She'd volunteered to testify, against my advice, against Major Reed's advice. "I need to do this, Dad," she'd said. "For you, for me, for every soldier who trusted Captain Thornton to honor the code." She was 17 years old, about to walk into a room full of officers and recount how her mother's affair partner had dinner at our house 14 times during my deployment, how she'd thanked him for taking care of us. I wanted to protect her from it, but she was right. Her testimony would be devastating, more powerful than anything I could say. The hearing started at 0900 hours. Brigade conference room. Long table at the front for the judge and panel. Smaller tables for prosecution and defense. Gallery seating for about 30 people. CSM Dixon sat in the front row. Colonel Mitchell. A dozen other battalion and company commanders. Bearing witness. Eric Thornton sat at the defense table. Dress uniform, medals, jump wings. He looked smaller than I remembered, broken. His attorney, a JAG captain from division, sat next to him, shuffling papers. I sat at the prosecution table with Major Reed. He had 3 binders of evidence, the security access logs, the iPhone forensics report, screenshots of messages, my deployment journal, Angela Myers' testimony transcript, the paternity test results. The judge, a lieutenant colonel from brigade staff, called the room to order. "This is an Article 32 hearing in the matter of Captain Eric Thornton, charged with violations of Article 134 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, specifically adultery with the spouse of his commanding officer during said officer's combat deployment, conduct unbecoming an officer, and abuse of position for personal gain." The charges were read. Eric stood at attention, entered his plea. "Not guilty, sir. Not guilty. He was actually going to fight this." Major Reed stood up. "Sir, the prosecution calls Lieutenant Colonel James Harrington." I took the stand, raised my right hand, swore to tell the truth. For 90 minutes, I walked through everything: the discovery, the messages, the timeline, the deployment journal entries contrasted with Lauren's texts, the conspiracy to force me out using FRG politics, the pregnancy, the paternity test. The defense attorney tried to rattle me, suggested I was paranoid from deployment stress, that I'd misinterpreted innocent messages, that my marriage had been troubled for years, and I was looking for someone to blame. I stayed calm, answered every question, let the evidence speak. Major Reed entered exhibits. Exhibit A, security access logs, 67 entries during my deployment, many after midnight. Exhibit B, iPhone forensics report, 347 messages recovered, including deleted ones. Exhibit C, my deployment journal, May 15th entry, the day I almost died. The panel listened, took notes. Their faces were stone. After my testimony, Major Reed called Angela Myers. She testified about Lauren's confessions, about the 2018 affair, about the conspiracy to force me out. The defense attorney tried to discredit her. "You're betraying your best friend to save your own reputation." Angela looked him in the eye. "I'm telling the truth because I should have told it 8 months ago. I enabled this. I'm not proud of it." Yes, then CSM Dixon testified about the access logs, about base security protocols, about how welfare checks are supposed to be weekly, not twice weekly at 2 a.m. By lunchtime, Eric's defense was collapsing. At 1300 hours, Major Reed called his final witness. The prosecution calls Miss Madison Harrington. The gallery stirred. Eric's head snapped up. His attorney looked surprised. Maddie wasn't on the witness list. Major Reed had kept her as a surprise. The doors opened. Maddie walked in wearing her dress uniform, Army service uniform, the formal one, not combat fatigues. Dark blue jacket, light blue shirt, tie, skirt, low heels. Her ribbons, ROTC awards, community service medals. Her hair pulled back in a tight bun. She looked older than 17. She looked like an officer. My 17-year-old daughter was about to testify against her mother's lover, and there was nothing I could do to protect her from it. She took the stand, raised her right hand, voice steady. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Major Reed approached. Miss Harrington, please state your relationship to the accused. Captain Thornton was my father's subordinate. He was also my mother's. She paused, steadied herself. My mother's affair partner. During Lieutenant Colonel Harrington's deployment, did you have contacts with Captain Thornton? Yes, sir. He came to our house for dinner 14 times. 14 times over 8 months? Yes, sir. My mother told me he was checking on us. Welfare checks, because my father asked him to. I believed her. What did you think of Captain Thornton during these visits? I respected him. He wore the uniform. He was an officer. He talked about honor and duty. He asked about my West Point application. Gave me advice. Her voice cracked slightly. I thanked him for taking care of us while Dad was deployed. You thanked him? Yes, sir. I thanked the man who was sleeping with my mother for taking care of our family. The room was silent. Major Reed paused. Let that sink in. Miss Harrington, were you aware of the affair at the time? No, sir. I found out 3 weeks ago when my father told me. How did that make you feel? The defense attorney stood. Objection, relevance. The judge looked at Major Reed. Counselor? Sir, Miss Harrington's testimony speaks to the impact of Captain Thornton's conduct on military families, on the trust that soldiers place in their fellow officers, on the... Overruled, the witness may answer. Maddie looked at the panel, 12 officers staring at her. Some of them had daughters her age. It destroyed me, she said quietly. My entire identity is built on being a military kid, a future officer, someone who believes in honor and duty. I wrote my West Point application essay about my parents' faithful marriage, about how military families can thrive despite hardships. My mother helped me edit it. Tears started falling, but her voice stayed steady. She helped me write about faithfulness while she was betraying my father. And Captain Thornton, she looked at him. He wouldn't meet her eyes. Captain Thornton sat at our dinner table, wore his uniform in our house, talked about the Army values, loyalty, duty, respect, integrity. And the whole time, he was lying. He was using his position to access my mother, to destroy my family. Miss Harrington, I wanted to be an officer like my father, and like Captain Thornton. Now I only want to be like my father. She turned to the panel, voice stronger now. Sir, Captain Thornton didn't just betray my father. He betrayed every soldier who trusted him to honor the code. He betrayed me. He betrayed everyone in this room who thinks the uniform means something. The defense attorney stood. Permission to cross-examine the witness. The judge nodded. Proceed. The defense attorney approached, young, maybe 30, trying to salvage an impossible case. Miss Harrington, you're 17 years old. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And you're applying to West Point, a competitive process, correct? Yes, sir. Isn't it true that a scandal involving your family could hurt your application? Objection, Major Reed said, badgering the witness. I'll allow it. Miss Harrington, you may answer. Maddie looked at the attorney. Yes, sir. This scandal could hurt my application. So you have a vested interest in making Captain Thornton look as bad as possible, to deflect from your mother's role, to protect your application. No, sir. No? No, sir. I have a vested interest in telling the truth. My mother destroyed our family. Captain Thornton helped her. They're both guilty. And if West Point doesn't want me, because I'm the daughter of a woman who betrayed her husband. She paused. Then West Point isn't where I belong. The attorney tried again. Miss Harrington, isn't it possible you're angry at your mother and transferring that anger to Captain Thornton? I'm angry at both of them, sir, equally. Well, but your father is the one who filed charges against Captain Thornton, not against your mother, because you can't court-martial a civilian, sir. But my mother's facing divorce, loss of military benefits, loss of her FRG position, loss of her reputation. She's paying consequences too. The attorney paused, realized he was losing. No further questions? Maddie stepped down, walked past Eric's table. He was crying. She didn't look at him. She sat next to me in the gallery. I put my arm around her, whispered, "You were incredible." "I meant every word," she whispered back. The judge called a recess. 15 minutes. The panel would deliberate. We waited in the hallway. Maddie leaned against the wall, exhausted. "You okay?" I asked. "No, but I will be." CSM Dixon came over. "Miss Harrington, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen." "Thank you, Sergeant Major." Colonel Mitchell approached. "Maddie, I don't know if West Point deserves you, but they'd be lucky to have you." 15 minutes turned into 30, then 45. Finally, we were called back in. The judge opened a sealed envelope. In the matter of Captain Eric Thornton, this court finds the accused guilty on all charges. Article 134, adultery. Article 133, conduct unbecoming an officer, abuse of position during superior's deployment. Eric's head dropped. His attorney put a hand on his shoulder. "Sentencing recommendations?" the judge asked. Major Reed stood. "Sir, the prosecution recommends general discharge under other than honorable conditions, forfeiture of all pay and allowances, permanent bar from re-enlistment or military service." The defense attorney stood. "Sir, Captain Thornton has served honorably for 9 years, 2 deployments, Bronze Star. This is one mistake." "One mistake." Colonel Mitchell stood up in the gallery. "Counselor, with respect, this wasn't one mistake. This was 8 months of calculated deception, using his position, betraying his commander during combat, conspiring to force said commander out of his job. This is a pattern of conduct unbecoming." The judge nodded. "Colonel Mitchell is correct. This court sentences Captain Eric Thornton to general discharge under other than honorable conditions, effective immediately. Forfeiture of all pay and allowances. Permanent bar from military service. You have 30 days to outprocess from Fort Campbell. Dismissed." Eric stood, removed his rank insignia, set it on the table, walked out. His attorney followed. The room exhaled. Major Reed turned to me. "Sir, it's over. You won." I didn't feel like I'd won anything. 2 days later, Colonel Mitchell called a battalion formation. Full battalion, 800 soldiers, parade field, morning formation. She stood at the front. Battalion guidon held by the color guard, American flag, unit flag. "At ease," she said. "I'm here to address a matter that affects this battalion. Some of you have heard rumors. Today, you'll hear the truth." She told them. Everything. Captain Thornton's court-martial, the affair, the abuse of position, the verdict, the discharge. I'm telling you this because transparency is important, because rumors are worse than truth, and because you deserve to know that when an officer violates the trust of this unit, there are consequences. She looked across the formation. You have a commander, Lieutenant Colonel Harrington, who discovered his wife was having an affair with one of his subordinate officers. He could have covered it up, handled it quietly, avoided the scandal. Instead, he reported it, followed regulations, let the system work, even though it cost him his marriage, his family's privacy, his daughter's peace of mind. She paused. Leadership is doing the right thing when it costs you everything. Lieutenant Colonel Harrington showed us what that looks like. The formation was silent. Then CSM Dixon called out, "3 cheers for the Colonel! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!" 800 voices, echoing across the parade field. I stood there, trying not to cry, trying to maintain bearing. Colonel Mitchell's voice carried across the formation. Leadership is doing the right thing when it costs you everything. LTC Harrington showed us what that looks like. After formation, soldiers came up to me, shook my hand, thanked me, said I'd done the right thing. Some of them had tears in their eyes. One young private, maybe 19 years old, said, "Sir, my dad cheated on my mom during his deployment. Nobody did anything about it. Thank you for holding Captain Thornton accountable. It means something." I went back to my office, sat down, stared at the battalion guidon in the corner. My phone buzzed. Email from Maddie. Subject, attachment body. "Dad, I rewrote the essay. Can you read it?" I opened the attachment. Honor in Action, Learning Truth from Betrayal by Madison Harrington. I learned about honor from watching my father choose truth over comfort. 4 months ago, my world ended. My father, a battalion commander with 18 years of service and 4 combat deployments, discovered my mother was having an affair with one of his subordinate officers during his deployment. While he was under fire in Iraq, my mother was betraying him at home. I was 17, a high school senior, ROTC scholarship recipient, West Point applicant. My entire identity was built on being a military kid, someone who believed in duty, honor, country. My original West Point essay was about my parents' faithful military marriage, about how they'd survived 4 deployments together, about how their relationship proved that honor and commitment could withstand hardship. My mother helped me edit that essay while she was having the affair. When I found out I wanted to withdraw my application, how could I talk about honor when my family was built on lies? But my father taught me something. Honor isn't about never failing. It's about what you do when the people you trusted fail you. My father could have covered up the affair, handled it quietly, avoided the scandal that would hurt his career and my West Point chances. Instead, he reported it, filed charges, let the system work, even though it meant public humiliation, even though it meant destroying his marriage, even though it meant I'd have to testify in a military court-martial about how my mother's lover had dinner at our house 14 times. He chose truth over comfort, justice over convenience, honor over ease. That's the lesson I'm taking to West Point. Not that military families are perfect, but that real honor means doing the right thing even when it costs you everything. My father survived 4 combat deployments. He survived IEDs and firefights, and everything wore through at him. And then he came home and survived the worst betrayal a soldier can face. If he can survive that with his integrity intact, I can survive anything West Point throws at me. That's honor in action. I read it 3 times. Then I called her. Maddie, it's perfect. You think so? I know so. Submit it, right now. Dad, what if they reject me because of the scandal? Then they're not worthy of you. But they won't. This essay is powerful. It's honest. It's you. Okay, I'm submitting it. I'm proud of you, honey. I'm proud of you too, Dad. 6 weeks later, the envelope arrived. Thick envelope from United States Military Academy, West Point, New York. Maddie called me at work. Dad, there's an envelope from West Point. Open it. I'm scared. Open it, honey. I heard paper tearing. Silence. Then a scream. Dad, I got in. I got in. I stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the battalion area, the parade field, the barracks. Read it to me, I said. Dear Miss Harrington, congratulations. On behalf of the admissions board, I am pleased to offer you admission to the United States Military Academy class of 2030. She kept reading, but I stopped listening, just stood there, felt something break open in my chest, something that had been locked tight for months. Pride, relief, hope. My daughter was going to West Point, despite everything, because of everything. That night, she came over to the VOQ, brought the acceptance letter, brought the essay. Dad, I want you to have this. She handed me the essay. Keep it. Read it when you need to remember why you did the right thing. I took it. Set it next to my deployment journal on the desk. Maddie, I have something for you too. I pulled the ring from my pocket, the wedding ring, the one I'd left on the counter the night I discovered the affair. I'd had it re-engraved. Honor above all, even when it hurts. I handed it to her. This was supposed to represent a faithful marriage. It doesn't anymore. But maybe it can represent something better, a commitment to honor no matter the cost. She put it on a chain around her neck. I'll wear it every day at West Point. Good. We sat there for a while, quiet, just being together. Dad, she said finally. Yeah? Are you okay? Really? I will be, eventually. Do you still love Mom? I don't know. I loved who I thought she was, but that person never existed. What about the baby, Eric's parents? They're good people. The baby will have a good life. Can we visit when the baby's born? If you want to, if they want us to. Yes. I think I do. The baby's innocent. It's not his fault. No, it's not. She leaned against me. We're going to be okay, aren't we? Yeah, honey, we're going to be okay. Lieutenant Colonel Harrington and Maddie redefined what family means, not who you're born to, But who shows up when it matters? If you've built your own chosen family, blood or not, tell me about them in the comments. And if this story moved you, subscribe. I tell stories about honor, betrayal, and the courage to rebuild after everything falls apart. I'll see you in the next one. The brigade change of command ceremony was scheduled for March 15th, 6 weeks after the court-martial, 8 weeks after I'd discovered the affair. It was a formality, passing leadership from one commander to the next. But tradition mattered in the Army. Ceremony mattered. 2,000 military personnel and family members filled the parade field. Brigade band, color guard, generals, mayor of Clarksville, media. I stood in formation with my battalion, CSM Dixon next to me, Maddie in the front row of the family section, wearing that re-engraved ring on a chain around her neck. Colonel Mitchell gave her farewell speech, talked about leadership, service, sacrifice. Then she turned to me. There's one more ceremony today. Lieutenant Colonel James Harrington has completed his battalion command. Normally, this would be a separate event. But given recent circumstances, I wanted to honor him publicly. She gestured. I marched forward. The battalion guidon, my guidon, the one I'd gripped during my darkest moments, was held by the color guard, that red and white flag with the eagle insignia. Strike! Lieutenant Colonel Harrington, Colonel Mitchell said, you have commanded this battalion with honor, courage, and integrity. In the face of personal hardship that would have broken lesser men, you chose truth. You chose justice. You chose to uphold the values we all swear to defend. She pinned a new medal on my chest. Meritorious Service Medal. For exceptional service during command. Your soldiers are better for having served under you. Your daughter is better for having you as a father. The Army is better for having officers like you. The guidon passed from the color guard to the incoming battalion commander, a symbolic transfer of authority. But Colonel Mitchell wasn't done. I have one more announcement. Lieutenant Colonel Harrington has been selected below the zone for promotion to colonel. He'll be leaving Fort Campbell for a Pentagon assignment, leading a task force on military family readiness and ethics. The crowd erupted. Applause, cheers, 2,000 people standing. I looked at Maddie. She was crying, smiling. After the ceremony, people lined up to congratulate me, shake my hand, take photos. Eric's parents were there, in the back, waiting. I walked over. Eric's mother was holding a baby, 3 months old, healthy, chubby cheeks, asleep in a blue blanket. Colonel, she said, thank you for coming. He's beautiful. His name is Daniel. After my father, she looked at me. He's loved, so loved. I can see that. We're moving, back to Ohio, fresh start. But we wanted to see you before we left, to say thank you. You don't need to thank me. Yes, we do. You gave us grace when you could have given us hell. Maddie walked over, stood next to me, looked at the baby. Can I hold him? She asked. Eric's mother handed him over. Maddie cradled him, looked down at his sleeping face. Hi, Daniel, she whispered. I'm Maddie. I guess I'm kind of like your big sister. Sort of. It's complicated. The baby yawned, settled into her arms. I'm going to West Point in August, Maddie said to him, but I'll come visit you, if that's okay. Tell you stories about honor and duty and doing the right thing even when it's hard. Eric's father was crying. You're welcome anytime, both of you. Maddie handed the baby back. Take care of him. We will, I promise. They left. Disappeared into the crowd. Maddie and I stood there on the parade field. The ceremony was over. People were dispersing. The band had packed up. The flags were being folded. Dad, Maddie said. Yeah? What happens now? Now we rebuild. You go to West Point. I go to the Pentagon. We start over. Is it really that simple? No, but it's that necessary. She touched the ring around her neck. Honor above all, even when it hurts. Even when it hurts. We walked to the car. The combat deployment flag that used to hang in our window was gone. Lauren had taken it when she moved out. Moved to Nashville. Started over somewhere else. The divorce had been finalized 2 weeks ago. Clean break. She got the settlement from Eric's parents. I got the deployment journal and the memories that were real. At the VOQ, I packed my things. 14 weeks of living in temporary quarters. Now I'd find a house in Virginia, near the Pentagon. Start the next chapter, Maddie helped me pack. We worked in silence mostly. Sometimes that's all you need, just presence, just showing up. Dad, she said finally, can I read your deployment journal, the whole thing? I handed it to her. Yeah, but it's going to hurt. I know, but I want to understand what you went through, what you survived. Okay. She sat on the bed, opened the journal, started reading. I kept packing. After an hour, she looked up. Dad, this entry, May 15th, the day you almost died. Yeah. You wrote about coming home to me and Mom, about how that's what kept you going. Yeah. But she was... I know, but I didn't write that for her. I wrote it for me, to remind myself what I was fighting for. And were you fighting for something real? I sat down next to her. I was fighting for you. That was always real. You were always worth coming home to. She leaned against me. I love you, Dad. I love you too, honey. We sat there, father and daughter, survivors of different wars, building something new from the wreckage. Outside, the sun was setting. March in Kentucky. Still cold. But spring was coming. I thought about Eric. Discharged, disgraced. Working some civilian job in Ohio, probably. No pension, no honor, no future in the military. I thought about Lauren, in Nashville, starting over, without the baby, without me, without the life she'd tried to steal. I thought about Angela Myers, still at Fort Campbell, still in the FRG, trying to rebuild trust, living with the guilt of knowing and saying nothing. And I thought about the soldiers, the ones who'd cheered for me at formation, the private who thanked me for holding Thornton accountable, the hundreds of military families who'd watched this play out and learned something about honor. I survived 4 combat deployments and the worst betrayal a soldier can face. If I can survive that, you can survive anything, Maddie. That's what I want you to remember at West Point. She looked at me. I will, Dad, I promise. That night, we had dinner, just the two of us, off base, civilian restaurant, normal people doing normal things. Tomorrow, I'd start out processing. Maddie would finish her senior year. In August, she'd report to West Point. I'd report to the Pentagon. We'd survive, we'd thrive. We'd prove that honor wasn't just a word, it was a choice. Every single day. The wedding ring hung around Maddie's neck, re-engraved, transformed. No longer a symbol of a broken marriage, but a reminder of what matters. Honor above all, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because that's when it counts the most.